So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just took a massive step forward, and specifically that massive step is getting way closer to signing Aaron Rodgers as the new quarterback of the Steelers. And it kind of looks like, as far as improving on the quarterback position above Mason Rudolph, that's polarizing. We can talk about that later. The Pittsburgh Steelers have kind of put all their chips in on signing Aaron Rodgers. Granted, it's polarizing, but I'm just going to get to what actually happened today. And this is from Adam Schefter. He is sharing that the Steelers spent about 6 hours with Aaron Rodgers at the training facility today. He met with their coaches, and it was said to be a really positive visit. And I think it went a long ways between the two sides coming to an agreement. And then Tom Pelissero, he's talking about the fact that the Steelers, it is confirmed that the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, they've had contract parameters in place for weeks. Money was not a discussion during today's visit. It was a chance for both sides to get to know each other better. You still have the Giants involved, but the decision is in Aaron Rodgers' hands, which that is no surprise. And also, Albert Breer, he's saying that not only did Aaron Rodgers spend time with the coach, but he also spent time with GM Omar Khan and also offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. No deal, but there was really no expectation that a deal was going to happen today anyways. And there you have it. Actual progress on Aaron Rodgers becoming a Pittsburgh Steelers for you guys. And this is Sports Talk Steelers. I'm Sean. I am here to give you an outsider's view, kind of like a raw news approach to Pittsburgh Steelers news on the daily. So like and subscribe would be a huge blessing as we get this new channel off the ground. Would love to have you join me in that. So we're kind of looking at the Steelers as far as where they're at. I mean, right or wrong, agree or disagree, but I think the Steelers view themselves as just a quarterback away from contending and winning a Super Bowl in 2025. I mean, their top choice, I think, was Justin Fields, but they weren't willing to guarantee enough money. Inability to come to terms with him. He ended up going to the Jets, and now this is plan B, Aaron Rodgers. And I'm also acknowledging Mason Rudolph is there. The players love him. I think the players would play for him. But is he really the long-term solution? Do you see Mason Rudolph taking you to a Super Bowl? I don't think you do. I think Mason Rudolph is great to carry the water for the year. I think he can have some success, but he's really not the answer to bring you guys all the way to the Super Bowl. And if Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers and not the shell of himself, not this kind of egotistical me first guy, if he can be a team first guy with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think you really have something here. And it is polarizing, though. We've had news in the NFL that both current Steelers players and like some spouting off from the Steelers coaches, they've made their feelings known regarding Aaron Rodgers and this whole kind of fiasco of him making everyone wait for his whims, his courtship of the Minnesota Vikings, which now seems a little one-sided. But yeah, Mason Rudolph is here. But if you think for 1 second that the Steelers are content with Mason Rudolph or a rookie and a guy like Skylar Thompson to fill out this quarterback room, I think the Steelers think that they can win now. And if they can bring Aaron Rodgers in, that might be all the more possible. You're also looking at Rodgers. There's still a possibility of him retiring, but I'm not so sure he's the kind of player that wants to go out in his final year like he did with the Jets. That's not a very good swan song, and I think he wants to play for a contender. Well, he's voiced that. So the Minnesota Vikings are out of the picture. It's really the Steelers looking like you guys are the final team that's contending, that is still vying for his services. Because if you look at the New York Giants, they're most likely picking in the top 5 of the draft again next year. They're not going to be Aaron Rodgers' Super Bowl attempt at a swan song. I think it's the Steelers or retirement. So now maybe the ball is kind of in the Steelers' court. Maybe the Steelers no longer feel like victims, no longer feel like they're being strung along. It's pretty much up to Aaron Rodgers. He either plays for the Steelers or he goes away and he retires and continues this contemplating stroll along the beach that he posted on his socials. I covered it a few days ago. Maybe he can just do that permanently and figure out what his next thing in his life is. I wish him well. But if he wants to play ball if he wants to retire on a high note, if he wants to be with a contender, I don't think he can do much better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you got to argue. Sure, it's going to cost a lot of money. Sure, it's going to require some sacrifice. But Aaron Rodgers makes his team so much better than without him. And I think the Steelers are also moving towards winning now with the signing of DK Metcalf. That was a gutsy signing, something that you guys don't typically do. I know this is super polarizing. I'm primarily a Bears guy. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I don't love what he's done over the last couple of years. I don't love the darkness retreats. I don't love the holding you guys ransom for this long of a period of time. But now that you've waited this long, if you can finish up with Aaron Rodgers behind center, have him be a high upside bridge, even a guy that can win you a title for the next year or two while someone young is drafted, maybe the quarterback from Alabama, maybe we're looking at Jackson Dart, some guy that can be brought in that has a ton of potential that can learn for a year or two without being pressured to be the guy. Maybe that's a way to go. Also, maybe the draft next year with all these compensatory picks that Pittsburgh has, you guys are sitting pretty in the draft next year, and perhaps next year will be a better quarterback draft, and it can be addressed then. So anyways, I don't think it's a good idea to reach for a guy in the first round if he's not the guy either. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for the subscribers and all the love you've shown bringing up this new channel. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. See you guys later.